Coming up next, power searching on Google. Google is the internet giant. It's the best company to work for, according to Fortune magazine's just released annual list of the top 100 employers, and Google takes great care of its users as well. If you haven't yet Googled, you probably soon will. In fact, it now is the world's second most visited website. Google's revenues are in the multi-billions, and its stock runs around $500 a share. So tonight we'll find out how to make the most of your Google searches. With me is Nancy Stimson, the Outreach Services Librarian at the UCSD Biomedical Library, who teaches a course in extreme Googling. Okay, Nancy, we know that Google isn't the only search engine out there, but it seems to me that more people use Google than just about anything. What do people generally use Google for?
People have told us that they use Google for practically everything. They look for information on books and articles, biographical information, statistics, facts, quotes, business information such as marketing reports and so forth. In fact, sometimes they look for things that actually they won't really find on Google.
So can you find I think you just answered my question, whether you can find an answer to just about any question on Google and for free?
Well, that seems like a two-part question to me. You can find, surely you can find information on, again, all manner of topics on Google. However, I think some people have the perception you can find anything on Google, and that also that Google searches the entire web, which it doesn't. There is a certain portion of the web which is either behind a firewall or requires password for getting in, and also things that require payment and so forth. And so we call those parts of the internet that you can't search via Google the invisible web.
Okay, well let's look at some of the visible web, okay? Let's look at some of the special features that people may not know about. What can you show us?
Okay, well, I think probably over 90% of people are used to just going to Google, putting their terms in the search box, and clicking on search. But one of the things that people might like to know about is this more. Right above the search box, you see a link to more. And if you click on that, there are a few things listed, and then even more.
Let's see what's in even more.
So if I scan down the page here, you'll see there are all manner of things, and there really isn't time to go into all of these.
All right, well, let's pick one of them. Let's pick the maps one.
Okay.
All right, and let's see what that will show us. Great.
All right, so Google Maps is a great resource for finding directions,
How about finding KPBS for us, okay?
Okay.
And our address is 5200.
Oh, luckily it's been saved here.
Oh, good.
And I'll just go ahead and hit enter.
Great.
At this point, I can double-click on the site to enlarge it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have choices here. We can just look at the map. We can look at the satellite view.
Yeah, there
and
it
I
is.
can go in a little bit further here. And then also we could do a hybrid where we look at the streets as well as the...
And you can get directions too.
That's right. We could also get directions either from somewhere to KPBS, or if we click on these arrows, from here to somewhere else.
All right, suppose that I want to use Google to help me with my math. Can it do that as well?
Okay, it can.
Sure.
One of the things you can do is to, for instance, do a calculation right in the main Google box. For instance, 45 times, I think I can even do fractions, 3/4. And you get your answer right on the screen
there. So you don't have to carry around a special calculator.
No.
All right, and when you look at all of these, I mean, there's probably a million things that you could tell us about it. What are the special tips that you would give us when we use Google?
Okay, well, some of the things that you can do that I don't think are completely obvious. One of them is that if you are looking for a phrase and you want to make sure that Google keeps your words together, you put the words in quotation marks. For instance, to be or not to be. And that just makes sure that your results will be probably a little bit more on point than they would be if you didn't have that phrase in quotation marks. Another thing that you can do is that you can, let's say you're doing a search on viruses, for instance, but you find that you're not only getting viruses in the biological sense, but you're also getting computer viruses. If you're not interested in that, you can put a minus sign and computer, so that Google searches for viruses without the word, but not the word computer.
But what about if you want to save time online? Are there any searching tips that would say, okay, do this and you won't have to spend a lot of time on Google?
Well, my tips for saving time online would mainly be to realize that Google does not have is not the way to find all information, and that there are those other things I alluded to, sort of the invisible web, mainly databases and other resources that local libraries pay for, both your local public library and local academic libraries like UCSD, and that these resources are available to you as well. And
well, Google looks pretty easy to use, but I'll bet anything that there are some common mistakes that people make when they use Google.
Well, one of the mistakes that I know that people make sometimes is that they put too many words in the search box, and they either put very common words in the search box and end up with millions of results, or they put too many and they end up with not finding what they want. And then sometimes when they don't find what they want, they add additional words, which of course if you didn't get things the first time, by adding more words you're not going to do have any better success.
Okay, well, as lives get busier and busier and people are trying to lessen their time on computers, do you suggest anything for them to just kind of condense the time that they spend on computers?
Well, my recommendations would be, if you're using, first of all, if you're using something like Google, to take advantage of the links to advanced search, some of the links within Google, also to some of the other tools I pointed out.
Right.
Also, don't always use the same search engine. Maybe when you're searching the web, use a different search engine.
So make life with a little more variety. I want to thank you very much, Nancy Stimson.
Thank you.
And that's tonight's Full Focus. For more about our featured topics, visit our website at kpbs.org. And if you have a comment for us, write to the address on the screen. On Friday, Full Focus will look at the city and state report cards delivered by the mayor and the governor, and at the career of our very own Hall of Famer, Tony Gwynn. For KPBS, I'm Gloria Penner. Good night.